tried to do something slick, but it didn't work. Aaron Whitlow.
Brandon Spivey.
Okay. We are the Mark Out Movie Podcasters. And in
Yes,
today's episode,
we are.
we're going to be talking about Avengers Age of Ultron, which is probably one of the least memorable, in opinions of, I'm not saying that, I'm not throwing shade on this film. I'm saying that you kind of forget that it took place with the whole Avenger films, but actually, I enjoyed it. But we'll talk about that. I will comment on Fuzz's comments, which is very long. The laptop battery versus the markout crew. The battery will win again with the figure four leg lock submission. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Thank you for trolling us, Buzz. Yes, the laptop battery succumbed to the power of my ring light, like moments into me even getting it started. But nevertheless, I have a phone that's more powerful than a laptop. So, ergo, we're here. But in the meantime, before we jump into comments, Brandon's touching his camera. I don't know what's going on there.
Right.
We'll talk about what we watched. And Brandon,
Yes, sir.
we watched some stuff. You watched more than I, but I watched one thing that
We both watched.
we both watched, and that one thing was like the craziest thing ever. So, what happens if I do this? Oh, that did nothing. That's fine. We keep it in the corner. Why not? Anyway, so Brandon,
Mm-hmm.
everything, everywhere, all at once. You want to discuss it?
I'll let you start.
Oh wow, this movie is an insane film, starring. Let's see, I'm not gonna butcher people's name. Michelle Yeoh as Evelyn Wang, Kei Hoi Kwan, aka Data. That who I marked out before personally when I seen him on screen. I marked out big time for Data. Who I'm glad to see him starting to act again. Um, he's in this film as Wayman Wang, and then my girl Jamie Lee Curtis, the Scream Queen herself, is in this movie as Deidre, a worker at the IRS office, or uh, I guess it's the IRS office, right?
Mm-hmm.
Agency, and then Stephanie Hughes, Hugh, I don't know how to pronounce it. Sue, maybe. I don't know if the H is silent. Is Joy Wayne. But man, this movie is crazy.
It was crazy.
It's crazy.
It
There's
was.
things that happen in this movie that there's some things you see in this film that you can't unsee
And
in
you
life.
can't unsee the hot dog hands. He's just.
Brandon spoiled it for people. So if you hadn't seen it,
I mean,
there's
it's
a
not much
moment.
of a spoiler. I mean, it's just hot dog hands. I mean,
There is hot dog hands. Brandon,
yes, sir.
this movie, what was your overall thoughts on everything everywhere all at once?
My overall thoughts: first part, bonkers, crazy, entertaining to the mats. I mean, it was just crazy, and Data was the highlight of the movie for me.
He's
Um,
phenomenal in it.
I mean, Jamie was great. Michelle was great. The daughter was great. They were all great. There was just something special about Data. I can't pronounce his name. I'm just calling
So
him Data. To me, he's Data grown up. That's what I
yeah,
felt like watching this movie. It's Data grown up.
but nobody ever remembers that he's short round from Indiana Jones. But yeah,
That's
he's
a
Data.
continuation. He left the Goonies and met Indiana.
Okay, yeah, that's weird fan fiction. But and he grew up to marry Michelle Yeoh, who I guess but I thought he was believable. He seemed like a very likable and lovable guy. in this movie, and some strange things happen, and you like, and at first you like, why? What is this? What's that? But it all gets explained, sorta. Um, Later on. My biggest flaw in the film, and which I believe you will say the same thing with everything everywhere all at once, is that it goes on a little too long. I felt like it should have been trimmed a little bit, but because maybe it's because of the false ending that's in the movie at one point. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, other than that, I enjoyed it, and you commented on the hilarity of a part there was literally nothing happening. and and people were still like laughing because of what they're seeing on the screen, but literally in the scene, nothing was happening, and you got a
I felt
kick
like
out of
that
it.
went on for like 5 minutes. It felt a very long time. And I was just watching the audience because nothing was happening. And the audience is so quiet. And I'm like, everybody's being quiet. Nothing is happening. And everyone's being quiet. And that's when you have the audience hooked. When you can actually show nothing happening for about 5 minutes, nothing but subtitles.
And and the audience laughed at the punchlines within the subtitles, so
Yeah.
they kind of responded to it. So they were literally reading and yeah, you're right. It's like even though I kind of looked at you like, what? Like there's several times I looked over at you. It was like, what is happening? What is this? Like
Yeah.
it's oh man.
It
Oh,
was
that was
literally, and I say this with all due respect to the Matrix franchise. This is what the new Matrix should have been. It really should have been this. But it was just crazy. It was a crazy film. Probably the craziest film I've ever seen in a theater. And I mean,
but what else would you expect from A24? So
yeah, though it doesn't feel like it would have been a film by them from that studio.
you
But
know what
I'm
it put me in the
impressed
mind
with what
of?
I've seen the last two movies by them. This and X. It's just two of the
Oh,
best
so
movies I've seen this year.
they did X as well.
Yeah.
You know what felt like a A24 film, but it wasn't, was The Dark House, or yeah, Night House. It felt like an A24, but it wasn't. Um, but I was gonna say what was I gonna say about? I lost my train of thought because I was about to say something about that movie. I forgot what it was. It was something about, oh yeah, yeah. It reminds me. It put me in the mind of being John Malkovich a little bit. And you remember? Have you seen that film?
I've seen it once.
Which it was just a
Weird.
really weird film, and also Eternals. Was it Spotlight of the Eternal Sunshine of what is with Jim Carrey?
Yeah. I don't really
Eternal
remember that
Sunshine of the
movie though.
Spotless Mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Eternal Sunshine. Yeah, I don't really remember it though.
it,
I went in expecting something else and I left lost. I didn't know what
well,
happened.
I think you went in at the time you're still expecting Jim Carrey. Like
Yeah.
there's just Jim Carrey trying to go into a different place theatrically. Speaking of Jim Carrey, that's a good segue because you saw Sonic 2.
I have
What
not
was your
seen
thought?
Sonic 2.
Oh, I thought your boy said. Oh, you
We
hadn't seen
watched
it
the
yet.
original. We're seeing it tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I like to see it, so um, never mind. It's not a good segue then. What else did you watch? Anything recently? You mentioned
I mean,
X.
I've watched a few films, but I'm only going to name two that I feel that are deserving to be named. Finch, which starring Tom Hanks on Apple TV.
And you said he
Uh,
won the title back, huh?
when he's humane, who can top him when he's just being humane? I mean, it's Tom Hanks. I mean, he's teaching a robot about life and what it is about to be human. I mean, it's a positive apocalypse film. I mean, I've never seen a apocalypse film be so positive. So I loved. I mean, I didn't love the movie itself, but I really enjoyed the movie. I really love Tom Hanks in the movie. So yeah.
Are these comments today or a later time? Is
What?
this Fuzz? Oh, Fuzz is commenting this whole time. It doesn't pop up on my cell phone like it does in other places. So he said, "I saw Father Stew and I cried." I haven't watched it. Is that with the Matt Damon, right?
Mark Wahlberg and
Mark
Mel
Wahlberg.
Gibson.
Oh, my bad. I confused my white dudes with muscles. And then everything that movie, everything all at once was really good. Everything bagel. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Um, it was so on the nose, but it's funny because it's just it's a weird film. Um, Fuzz also says I can't disturb a rock because it might be someone's family member. So yeah, because in the alternate world, rocks are people, well, people are rocks now. It's a weird movie.
Pinata.
Uh, Pinata scene was so funny. Yeah, I thought that's funny. Really, the hot dog scene was the funniest thing to me because it's just so random. But the thing is, like when they bit the fingers and mustard comes out, and you're like, does it? Are they biting off the fingers, or when you bite the fingers, it has condiments? I, I have questions. Uh,
You do, you do.
yeah, the raccoon, like the ratatouille with the raccoon. It was. I thought that yeah, it was weird. I thought she was gonna say it's like the Matrix in that scene, but she said like but she said with the raccoon on the head. I guess because she can't say rat like ratatouille, but maybe in their universe that's what it is. Um, Tenet was a crazy as everything all at once. Well, but Tenet wasn't. In my opinion, and Brandon may agree, it wasn't as good. Tenet was terrible. Like I actually left Tenet just bored and confused and felt like my time was wasted. That's just how I personally felt with Tenet. Brandon,
Yeah, I honestly felt the same way. I don't think I was as bored as you. You had a lot of questions. I didn't have a lot of questions. I just didn't like the movie. But I got it, but I just didn't. I'm not a big fan of his. So
and then lastly, Fuzz says, "What about being John Malkovich?" Yeah, like I said, it reminded me a lot of being John Malkovich. And I'll check your comments later. But what's the other movie you wanted to mention?
the other movie was Palmer on Apple TV. Um, Starring Justin Timberlake. It was about a guy who got released from prison. He's going to live with his grandmother, and he befriends a little boy by accident, really. And his mother has just abandoned him. Don't know where she is. It really touched me. I mean, it hit me, man. A guy taking care of his kid, not knowing where the mother is. The mother's a drug addict and all that. It just kind of hits you on so many levels. I just really loved it. I thought Justin Timberlake was really good in it, and it honestly would have been probably my top 5 films of last year if I had watched it. So, I
Hmm.
mean, if you have Apple TV, anyone, I would check it
I
out.
was gonna say I don't, but okay. 'Cause I still want to see Coda,
It's
which
on
won
Apple
Best
TV.
Picture. Yeah, uh, yeah, I heard good things. But all right, we're gonna go ahead and move into our convo on Age of Ultron, Avengers: Age of Ultron. This movie is actually, I think, it sets the framework for everything going forward. What this movie is the essential building block for all the other movies, not only the Avengers films, but the other MCU films going forward. It's like that, yeah, that foundation that everything needs. It's in my opinion because it sets up so many different stories. Although it abandons, like it set up a story but abandoned it, like really quickly. And I'm talking about the Bruce Banner and Natasha romance thing that never went anywhere.
Nah,
this is this is the beginning of end for the Hulk in this movie, Brandon. Well, actually, Thor Ragnarok was great, but with him in it. But I'm saying like after that, it's like they never really could. I don't know. They just never did anything with the Hulk. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't know, uh,
I agree.
but
I agree. This was the
but
beginning of
yeah,
the end for him because he
but yeah,
becomes Smart Hulk.
he does become Smart Hulk. But so Avengers: Age of Ultron came out 2015, rated PG-13. It's like 2 hours and 27 minutes. What's this open outer range? What's this outer range with? Is that my boy? Is that? I just
Josh
seen a
Brolin.
yeah, I just seen a trailer for it. Not trailer. I see like a little advertisement for it.
It's Amazon's answer to Yellowstone.
Okay, is it a show or a movie?
Yeah, it's a show.
Oh, that'd be great. I like Josh Brolin. So this movie, let's see, stars, of course, the Avengers. You know who they are: Robert, Chris, Mark, Chris, Scarlett, Jeremy, and everybody that else is, makes up the Avengers. And it also has James Spader, who I had no idea he did the voice of Ultron in this movie.
You couldn't
Uh,
tell?
no, I don't pick up on his voice like that.
Oh,
I'm not too familiar with his work other than like some stuff in the '80s. I know he was on The Office. I've never seen that Blacklist. I've never seen Blacklist.
Mr.
So,
California.
but I liked him as Mr. Cow. He was such a prick. But yeah, But uh, this movie, man, I think that so I guess if I tell you a little bit of my thing, what this movie's about is Tony Stark messes up again.
What Tony does.
Tony Tony Stark Tony. That's why I say Tony reacts. He doesn't really think things through before he does stuff. He just does it. He thinks he's thinking. He is thinking, but he's not really thinking it through. He allowed the image from the Scarlet Witch to make him uh, create a defense system for the world, but it's too smart. It's like it pretty much kills Jarvis or tries to kill Jarvis in some sense. Um,
Yeah.
and it's thinking it's mind Ultron's mind of brain is saying the only way to save the world is to kill the Avengers because they are destroying the world. That's how I kind of got it. And what do you think about that?
No, I think that's exactly it. Uh, I'm not sure in the beginning if he actually wanted to kill them or just make sure they're extinct. Because he says extinct a lot. Like, I think he was just trying to get rid of them. There would be no more Avengers, but
So on the other foot, Billy Pitcher is Richard. I've never seen, but
I've never heard of the movie.
yeah. But anyway,
But,
and I would not be
but
watching
was
it.
it
But
good? You didn't say if you liked the movie or not.
yeah, he did not say that. But yeah. So one thing that I want to mention in this that I noticed that I really did notice the first time I seen this film is that Clint or Jeremy Renner uh, gets more to do in this movie.
Of course, he
I
gets
felt
more.
like I felt like he really came in his own in this film. And I love that. I love that he kind of grew as a character in this film. That you can see where his being essential to the Avengers is, and I like that. I like it, like and it kind of helped me because I seen his other show, the Hawkeye. But yeah, it just really was great just seeing him stepping into his own in this film.
Yeah,
And I love who his wife is too. I love Freaks and Geeks, so she's
yeah.
alumni from that show. So yeah, Brandon.
I agree, 100%, man. Hawkeye got to shine a little bit more in this film than he did in the previous Avengers film, and a lot more than he did in Thor. So I mean, it's good because at this point, you really didn't truly consider him an Avenger. He was mainly their sidekick. But in this film, he has a lot more to do. He's more important, and I'm glad they gave him an opportunity because Jeremy's a fantastic actor and he's really important to the
Yeah.
Avengers, even though he wasn't really given that much credit previous Avengers film. But he's good.
I do want to mention. So we get introduced to Aaron Taylor Johnson's character of Pietro Maximoff and his sister Wanda. played by Elizabeth Olsen, the other Olsen sister, uh, who, in my opinion, is the better Olsen sister. I mean, we can debate, but
I don't think there's any debate.
I like Elizabeth. I think that she's a talented lady. But yeah, and I love their backstory. The Maximus reasoning for being a villain is because when their village or when their home was attacked, the the tech that was used was Stark Industry tech, and so that that terrorized them for that time frame. Those 4 days, I guess, 3 or 4 days that they were, held up in their what used to be their home as that Stark Industry bomb that didn't detonate, and so they knew that this man did it, create this destruction, and
Yeah.
so I thought that was really powerful backstory. It's almost like in Iron Man 2, how your boy, what's his name?
Mickey.
Mickey Rourke,
Hmm.
how his flawed mind or way of thinking why Tony was the villain. And so that's how they're thinking. But I don't know. I never understood if that was of Tony's doing, or was that like just somebody that had his tech, or this before his Iron Man, when it became anti-war, So, what do you think?
I think it was before. Uh, before he. It was definitely before he came Iron Man, but I would say before. Because I think did it. I can't think of his name. Andy Serkis' character, isn't he the one that bombed him?
Uh, Maybe. No, I don't know. Yeah, Andy Serkis, yeah, he plays. I forget that. Like you said when we was texting about this, I totally forgot that he was even in this movie.
Yeah, I
Andy
thought he
Serkis.
debuted in Black Panther, but no. Like I really forgot that he was in this movie. I
That's how
forgot
he
about
lost
that
his
whole
arm.
scene. Yeah, you know I didn't really enjoy this movie when it came out, so um I forgot so much. I forgot Wakanda was brought up. I forgot just about every
The
important detail.
the vibranium, like
Yeah,
it's the movie that introduced the. Well, actually, Cap's shield is vibranium, right?
I think
Um, or is it it's titanium? It's not titanium. It's vibranium, I think. Um, but yeah, it's like the most powerful metal. Other than what Wolverine has, antimonium steel around his skeleton. But anyway, I digress. Uh, what was your thoughts on so this creature, this entity of Ultron? What was your initial thoughts on like him, like his awakening and that scene?
originally I thought his
Well, maybe
character
not
was
original,
what now?
but now, oh yeah, you can compare it. Yeah, that's fine.
I
Like
thought it
to
was a
your
little bit
original time.
rushed. I thought they maybe should have took a little bit more time in 2015. But watching it now, I was like, okay, maybe it is still a little bit rushed with the story, but I totally bought it that he actually thinks he's doing good
Hmm.
by getting rid of the Avengers. He thinks he's actually saving the world. But by the end though, he just completely lost his mind. This machine has just completely lost its mind. He wants to destroy all humans, and it's just malfunctioned. He gets worse and worse as the movie goes on. Like his brain is just so fried. I mean,
And you can understand and he was set his like the way that James Spader, is Spader or Spade? James Spader, right?
Spader.
Am I- yeah. The way that he like I thought when I listened to him talk, for some reason I thought it sounded like Fran Drescher, Fran, not Fran Drescher, but the guy that's from that plays Frazier, that guy.
Kelsey Grammer.
Um, yeah, Kelsey Grammer. That's what I thought it was. I'm like, is that Kelsey Grammer? And then like I seen that it said James Spader. I was like, oh, I didn't know that he did this. But 'cause I really didn't pay attention to voice actors really back then. Honestly, I just didn't. I didn't even pay attention that Jarvis was, who he was, um, until
I'll bet.
You know, yeah, until I really started paying attention to voice acting. You know, because sometimes like you can't sleep on them, man. Sometimes they do really great. But yeah, I love like like I can understand his concept of wanting to destroy the universe, and I'm not saying that I'm not justifying it, but just the idea of like he has some great lines. He says every time man does something, he says something. He says God throws a rock. you know,
Yeah.
like and he talked about like the extinction of dinosaurs. And yes, it's things to think about that like humanity
You know
must
what's
be
funny
wiped
though?
out to start over.
You know what's funny about these villains, starting
Mhm.
with Robert Redford and Winter Soldier, Ultron, and this, and Thanos. They all want to destroy the world
Yeah.
because they feel like the humans are destroying themselves. You know,
Do
pretty
you
much.
feel like Robert? Did you feel like Robert Redford wanted to destroy the world more than just control the world?
He definitely wanted to control it, but yeah, I mean, you're okay with killing millions of people. I mean, you're going to ultimately be okay with killing everyone. I would say. I mean, you know, I just find it interesting that especially Ultron and Thanos want the same agenda. They want to destroy this world, and
It,
and I love the end credit scene with Thanos.
he
Fine,
says,
I'll do it myself.
"Yeah." I was, who I was thinking about also that came from it's called Sokovia, right? Sokovia, I think it's where the final attack happened, and
Yeah,
they give you the Sokovia Accords that they come later on in Civil War. Um, how we got how we actually got the other villain that was in that film from this, like from that attack that happened there, because we know that his wife and son died in that attack in that city, and he later went on to create like to get the Avengers fighting, like to break them up, to get them at each other's throats, which is smart. It's a smart
yeah,
thing to do as a villain. But yeah, this movie, and you also saw that Tony and Steve, their relationship was more of a bromance, like they're buddy buddy, where and we know that that's going to go away, you
yeah.
know,
It's
and
definitely
really,
going away.
they never really recapture that, like they never really got back to that level that they were. Uh, and that just speaks out to how powerful Civil War really was when we get to it. But what
We're
was your
close.
thoughts on what was your thoughts on Mark Ruffalo in his Hulk in this film? Because I'm judging your thoughts on the Hulk from his introduction to the Avengers to now, where we got him now. So
I
what's your
would
thoughts?
I would say he was fine in the movie, but it was a letdown from the first Avengers film. Not just
Hmm.
with Banner, but with the Hulk in general. I didn't feel like the Hulk did all that much. I felt like he was afraid to fight, like because how he reacted when Wanda, whatever that dust or whatever it's called, she threw it. She planted it in his mind, and he was afraid to be around humans and as the Hulk. So I mean, I don't know. I got it, but I was like, I don't know. I felt like he was afraid, and I think this is the start of him. Then Thanos is going to beat him in the Infinity War, and he won't ever be the same again. So I don't know.
Oh
I thought Mark was fine, but I think his performance goes down.
yeah, yeah.
Even in Thor Ragnarok, I did not like him as Banner. I didn't. I love
You
Hulk
more
in the
you
movie, but
wanted more Hulk.
yeah,
Hulk is great in there. Yeah. Now I want to also ask you about because uh, we had there's a party scene in this film. This is before we was introduced to Ultron. There's a party scene where we obviously get our Stan Lee cameo.
yeah,
Uh, but there's the scene of them try to pick up Thor's hammer, uh, and uh, and I love how like nobody could pick it up. But I love how with Steve, it did an oh so subtle move. It
Mm-hmm.
moved a little. The look on Thor's face. Oh man, that scene! I just remember just watching that and just like marking out a bit for that because I was like I love, and it's also a precursor or what's the term right there? Not precursor, but foreshadowing
Yeah.
of later when he can actually wield the hammer. So yeah, you know,
Yeah, I thought it was, and I love that scene by the way, but I thought it was just Vision just picks it up like it's nothing. Like when he comes about later in the movie, he just picks it up like it's nothing. And
and you
Thor
didn't even know he picked it up. Yeah, he didn't. You didn't even know he picked it up because he says, I know that you probably think I'm an enemy, but there's no time. We gotta just do what he just handed it to
yeah.
like this. But yeah, but what were we saying?
But I just, it was no, I mean, of course, they didn't have time to have a big shocking moment there. It was just because they're in the middle of a battle. But I kind of wish they wouldn't have done that, you know? I kind of wish they would just waited till Captain America picks it up later in the films and, have that big moment, which it was a big moment. It's like
Well,
he could have picked it up. He just wanted to tease Thor a little bit in this film. Um, I, I just kind of wish the Vision wouldn't have picked it up.
I think that Vision being able to pick it up is because he's so uh, extraterrestrial. Like
Yeah.
he's not human. He's not he's but he has empathy and sympathy. He like he's the complete opposite of Ultron. Ultron has a lot of the same things that he has, but Vision sees humanity as something worth saving and
Mm-hmm.
worth fighting for. Whereas Ultron sees humanity as like, what's the purpose? They're gonna just commit wars and terrors anyway. Why not just eliminate them and wait for something better to come out of the ashes? And so, you know,
He's got the mindset of Thanos. I'm telling you.
yeah,
And Vision doesn't necessarily disagree with him. He just thinks humans are worth fighting for.
mhm.
Which I don't know if you've seen this movie because Vision, Paul Bettany's character, is a lot like his character in Legion, where he's an angel sent back
Okay.
to protect the humans.
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
He's not supposed to protect them, but he ends up protecting them. He's supposed to wipe them out, and he doesn't. So he's kind of there's a very very similar situation there. So I love Paul Bettany though. He's a tremendous actor. So
Yeah.
I have a question for you though.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me think. Okay, you brought it up earlier that they didn't do anything with the Bruce Banner and Scarlet
Natasha.
Black Widow, romance. How did you feel about that going
I
into this
felt like
movie, watching it develop? Like,
I
did
forgot that was even a thing, honestly.
I didn't
Going
forget.
back and watching it, I forgot there was a thing that they started at romance. The best thing that came out of that romance is the payoff of the sun's going down line in Thor Ragnarok. It's the best payoff because because when Thor tries it, sun's going down and the Hulk kicks him and beats him up. But yeah, that's the best payoff. But their relationship, and they also that whole sterilization scene, like it's just like making her feel like she's less than a woman, which they kind of gaslighted that in the Black Widow with they tore out everything, what she said. But this relationship though, I felt like it'd been better if there was a payoff later. But there is literally no conclusion. Like when they get back to when they see each other again, it's not like, oh, I missed you, I love you, or anything like that. I think that it's just like, hey, that kind of happened, but not even discuss it.
I think the reason they may try to ignore it is because I don't think the reception was very kind. Because for me, it just came out of nowhere. There was nothing. I didn't see this in the previous films. I said if there was going to be a relationship with Black Widow, I figured it was going to be Captain America. I mean, the way they flirted, but I didn't see her and Bruce, you know, coming in anything. It was a little weird.
That you brought up a valid point, Brandon, because I totally forgot that they literally just did that with Steve and Natasha, uh, with that one film. Yeah, with that one film, with Steve, and they flirted with them having a relationship. Uh, yeah, I totally forgot about that. So like this is the second time that they're discarding them, and I always thought at one point before they showed that actually Hawkeye had a family. I thought that Hawkeye and Natasha was going to be a relationship, but they're more like brothers and sisters. They
Yeah,
love each other on the like that's his best friend. Like that's like he's deeply he's deeply hurt by that loss. Which
yeah.
we hopefully we get her back,
Which is
but
really should have been the origin story of Black Widow, how they met, that mission,
mhm.
how he saved her and all that. I don't. I wish that's the way it would have went, but they didn't.
But we know that because they wanted to give us you know man, I always say I love her, but I can't remember her name for the life of me. Um, from Fighting with My Family, I forget her name right now. Um, you ain't got it either, huh?
I don't have it either.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do
Uh,
know. Um,
but but yeah,
she's great though. She
yeah,
really is great.
I think she's a good entry into the series. But no, I agree with you. I think that that relationship went nowhere. I'm clearly looking her up. Florence Pugh. I don't know. I keep forgetting the name. But yeah. But let's talk about. I was going to ask you about. Obviously, we get the Nick Fury cameo. We always get a Nick Fury cameo. Um, do you feel like he just at this point? Uh, I mean, he pretty much was the ex machina in this movie because whenever the city was floating up and they thought that they're up there, they're about to die or whatever, he comes to save them. He's ex machina, the savior from the sky. Uh, what was your thoughts on Nick Fury in this film?
It's always good to see Sam. I mean, I do think though these later films that he really he's just kind of there. He doesn't have a whole lot of purpose except for Captain Marvel, which was kind of telling his origin story while telling hers. I really think he's a glorified cameo.
I was going to say that because there's some glorified cameos in this film. Of course, Rhodey comes back and he actually fights at the end with the Avengers.
Yeah,
But we have Idris Elba as Hemdale that just pops up. Peggy Carter in a flash like in a dream type of cameo type of thing. Uh, and then we have Eric Silvic, Stellan Skarsgård. Uh, he's in there, which I thought that he's like I even forget that he's a character in these films because he's now such in the corner, and they show him at the end like he's a part of the Shield, but he's not. He's not like we don't see him no more. I don't think. I
I
don't
don't
think
think
we ever
so.
see him again. Yeah, it's like
Now he
thrown
may be in the
away
new Thor movie because Jane's coming back, but I don't know. And also Anthony Mackie as Falcon was just one little brief cameo.
until the end where we show that he's a part of the new Avengers
Yeah,
that they never really did anything with other than him popping up in Ant-Man. Um, it's just like I don't know, it's just throwaway stuff, man. But mainly they getting us to Wanda being a part of the Avengers. That's the main. I think that's the main puzzle piece that they're setting up.
Yeah, and I really
Because
liked her, and I really liked Quicksilver in this.
she's
Uh,
really the most powerful person, like one of the most powerful people in Marvel. Like it's crazy how powerful she is. I can't wait to see Multiverse of Madness. Um, but yeah, and I haven't watched the last trailer for it because I don't want I don't really want spoil. I guess I did watch it. I guess I had no choice. It was at the beginning of everything, everywhere, all at once. But anything else you want to mention? Paul Bettany, perhaps, as Jarvis. How did you feel about not as
uh,
Jarvis, but as Vision? How'd you feel about just Vision being in this now?
I mean, I liked it. I thought I was like, he's getting his moment. You know, now you know what's going to happen. You know, he's got the Infinity Stone in his forehead. You know, he's got to die eventually.
Now you know that. You didn't know
Yeah,
that then. We didn't know that
no.
then. But yeah.
But when Thanos was coming and taking the stones, you kind of thought, okay, if he gets them all, he's going to have to kill Vision because you know it's in his forehead. but um, but I really wasn't focusing on the stones throughout this. I have been more since we've been watching,
Mhm.
and they feel very subtle. Um, like I'm picking up more stuff like that, and like the Wakanda. I mean, I'm picking up little nuggets of information they're showing us, and it's very interesting to go back and watch these movies like this, and you know you pick up so much more information, and you know it really hits you. Oh man, but I really did love Paul Bettany in this movie as Vision. He brought a little, as far as the machine goes, he brought humanity to this story, and you know I dug that.
I was gonna say, as far as like the vision that, no pun intended, but the vision that Chris Hemsworth Thor had in this film, he's the first one to actually see all of the Infinity Stones kind of together.
Yeah,
Like in that vision that he had, he's seen all of them. I think it was his vision that he saw them, and he saw the importance of that Infinity Stone that is I forgot what that one's called. But I thought that I kind of was like, oh man, like I know what that means with the now with the you know with the stones, and so oh man, it just kind of gets you excited for what's going on. And at the end, and we got to talk about this, the death of Petro, um, which that's something I always regretted that they did because I like Quicksilver and I want to see more Quicksilver in in the MCU. And so and I
well, they
like
didn't
the
officially call him
actor.
Quicksilver, so I mean but
Yeah, but we know that's who it was, obviously.
yeah,
Um, but which we know that in a different origin, Quicksilver and Wanda is children of Magneto, but
yeah,
not in this film. But I don't know, Aaron Taylor Johnson, man. I think that I think this is around the same time he also had Godzilla,
hmm
um, and so and she was also in Godzilla as well, right? Was
yeah.
Elizabeth Olsen?
They were a husband and wife in Godzilla, brother and
Yeah,
sister here.
it's awkward there,
Yeah,
but
that's a bit awkward.
and he's actually kick ass. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
he's good cast as well.
So he's like I don't know. He grew up from that time from being kick ass in this film, but his death was a hard death to see. I've kind of felt her pain,
Yeah, I think
Wanda's
it's
pain,
up to this point probably the most emotional scene in the MCU at this point.
more than Coulson, more than Coulson.
I think so. I teared up. I didn't
I
really tear
did
up for
too.
Coulson. I mean, I was sad about Coulson, but I didn't tear up. But this one I did, and that's great that he could have that kind of impact in just one movie. You know,
Mm.
it says he was on. He nailed it, and you felt the pain from Wanda. I mean, they did an amazing job in their introduction to the MCU. I mean, they really did. There is one thing I want to say though.
Yeah.
This is about the director, Joss Whedon. I believe after watching these two Avenger films back like we have. I believe he was hired from Warner Brothers to destroy the DCEU. I truly do. He can't go from Avengers and Age of Ultron to Justice League and make that crap. No possible way. I mean,
Yeah, it's not even the same type of like he. I get so angry with Justice League. I'm glad Zack Snyder got to do his vision of it. Because if that's how we were left with was Joss Whedon's Justice League, like I wouldn't care to see in another DC movie, honestly. But you know, I'm glad that Zack Snyder got to because it's a 5-star film, you
yeah, it
know.
really, really was.
Um,
And, Joss can do better than that. I mean, he proves it. These two Avenger films. I mean, there was no passion for Justice League when he was brought in.
did he leave? So after this film, he doesn't do the other
No,
Avengers films.
the
Does it get
Russos, I
passed
believe.
over? Who?
I think it was the Russos that did
Yeah,
Infinity
the
War and
Russos.
Endgame. I believe.
Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's just like I don't know. He hasn't done anything since. Did that bury him? Did Justice League
Well,
bury him?
after Justice League, they came out that he sexually assaulted, I believe, or
Oh,
harassed.
he got canceled.
Like, yeah, pretty much. Like he
Which
lost the. I think he was supposed to do Batgirl or
mhm.
Blue Beetle or one of those HBO Max films, and he got replaced. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think he's still part of the Buffy reboot, but
he directed recently looks like an episode of The Nevers, which I don't even know what that is.
Leverage.
The Nevers?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, so sorry, Josh. And it's crazy because I did like Josh Whedon. I love Buffy. I love Firefly. Well, I didn't see Firefly. I seen the film version of it before I seen the show. And then I liked Angel, of course. Um, and so I liked, I liked him, man. I hate that then he did Cabin in the Woods, so he wrote that. But yeah, Justice League was trash, man. He dropped the ball. But anyway, but he did a good job in this one. Speaking of the end of it, I was going to ask you real quick, who'd your standouts in this film, and who could have did better?
Standouts. I'm gonna go Wanda and Quicksilver. They
All
were
right,
my standouts.
my
Um,
standouts is Wanda and Clint Barton. I think that they were both.
yeah, you gotta go Hawkeye too.
Yeah.
Those would be my three. The ones that could have done better. This could be controversial. Obviously, it's Mark Ruffalo as Banner. He could have done better, but I also kind of feel like Robert Downey Jr. could have done better as Iron Man.
Hmm.
I wasn't totally sold on his performance in this one.
I felt like he was missing more of the film than he was there. Like
Yeah,
I felt like he was not really there as much. But yeah, I agree. I agree with your choices in that. Um, do you have any overall final thoughts on the film at all? Or I wanna bring up something. A scene that I kind of also got a little excited for was at the end where you see Falcon, you see Wanda, you see Vision. Um, is that all we saw? Was it? Oh, and then War Machine. We saw them kind of being formed as like the new Avengers. And then
yeah.
Cap says Avengers, and he's about to say assemble, but then it cuts. Um,
They were gonna
yeah,
save it for Endgame.
yeah. I just love that. It's just like that in the theme, the Avengers theme. You just feel like I, I actually was sitting here like, and I just said to myself, I was like, I love these films. I just love that these films. Exist. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, the
my
final
overall
thoughts.
final thoughts.
Mhm.
Um, One thing it does do, and I really did enjoy it this time around, but one thing it does do is it gets you excited for the future installments. Not just Avenger films, but these solo films that are coming. Like Ant-Man's next. There, nothing prepares you for Ant-Man right now, but I'm excited because I like Ant-Man, but I knew who he was before, so I liked him. But Civil War, I'm very excited for Civil War because
It gives us Spidey.
I didn't even when that was announced, Civil War, I didn't even think Spider-Man was going to show up in the MCU ever. Really, I never thought Sony would agree to that, but it. But after watching this movie, I'm more excited to revisit Black Panther now because the little nuggets they gave here in Age of Ultron, it just makes you excited to see what's coming.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to help me when we get to that point of because obviously on Disney Plus it doesn't show you the Spider-Man films, so you gotta help me to know when I need to place those in our viewing in our rotation because I don't know where those fall in. I think it's coming. I know one of them's coming before after Civil War. I think that's when we get Homecoming. So
Yeah, because basically three movies take place at the same time, pretty much. Black Panther, Homecoming, and Black Widow. They all kind of take place around that 2 or 3 months after Civil War. So,
okay,
but I'll look it up and see which one actually comes first. I think Homecoming is after Civil War, then it's Black Panther, then Black Widow. But Doctor
okay,
Strange is in there somewhere too, so I'll have to look
yeah.
it up.
But Ant-Man is what we got on deck next week. Let's go ahead and give our marks. So my final thoughts of this film is like I kind of gave my final thoughts at the beginning of this podcast. Is that I believe that this movie is and I didn't realize the importance of this film in the rest of the MCU. Like I think that this movie is more important than the other Avenger films that came before. Uh, Other than like the Winter Soldier, which is Captain's film. Um, but I think that those two films are like the foundational building blocks for what's to come uh, in the rest of what we see. Because I think everything that you've seen before that could really be like throwaway, and it's not really. But I'm saying, it's not as essential as Winter Soldier and Age of Ultron, and that just shows you how important Age of Ultron is. And I didn't
Yeah,
realize its importance when I first saw it back in
yeah. I
2015.
mean, I don't think a lot of people liked this movie when it first came out. I don't know if people have written back and watched it or not, but it is very important to the MCU and where they were at that point in time and building what was coming, Infinity War. I mean, it's not just Infinity War, but Civil War. You know, you could see
And,
it
and
on.
and Black Panther, like you said, in
Yeah,
Black Panther, it sets that up too.
yeah, and you could see there's a couple scenes in Age of Ultron sets up the dynamic of Tony Stark versus Captain America. There's a couple scenes in there. It's like, oh, be there, there's some drama there. There's some
There's
underlying,
some tension. Yeah,
yeah. I was like, and I didn't pick it up the first time I watched it, but rewatching, I was like, oh, I see it, and I look forward to it. I think it's going to be really cool to go back and watch Civil War and Ant-Man and Black Panther, and just see if they add any nuggets that we may have missed the first time around.
I want to mention one thing that I forgot to mention. I just seen the clip of it, and it just reminded me. We gotta speak about the Hulk Iron Man suit. The Iron Man has the Hulk Smasher suit
Yeah,
or whatever. What did you think about that whole scene where
I thought it
Hulk
was a good
is
scene.
Hulk was I guess bewitched and starts smashing like you literally see him at his worst.
Yeah,
And then Iron Man uh, launches Veronica to take get this big old Iron Man Hulk suit.
yeah. I mean, I
So
thought the scene was well done. It looked really good. I enjoyed the fight between Iron Man and Hulk. Although a little disappointed at the outcome, just being a Hulk fan. But he couldn't win in that situation. because he's gone mad. But I really liked it. I thought it was a well done scene.
You know what? You know what it just told me to is that shows you how Tony's mind is. Tony is always thinking ahead of everything. For him to create this Hulk suit, is he thought of a scenario in which the Hulk rages
Yeah.
and he's gonna have to either keep him locked down or try to stop him. And
It
so,
also tells you something about him, which kind of came out in this movie by creating Ultron, is he doesn't trust the team. Overall, he doesn't really trust him. He's kind of like Batman in that way. He doesn't trust members of his own team.
so do you think he has a contingency plan for like all of the Avengers? Like he has something
I would
that
say,
is for Thor. He got something for Cap. He got something for. It's kind of like yeah, you're right. It's like Batman because Batman he keeps kryptonite on deck just in case he has to take out Superman.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So yeah, I think he probably had a plan for everyone. But I thought his main concern was Hulk, just because of the superpowers he has and the rage he has. But I did like what before that happened, and between when Iron Man and Captain got into it. He said, and when Iron Man says, Tony says, "We'll lose," and Cap says, "We'll do it together."
Mhm.
You know, because Iron Man's he's not thinking of the whole team, but Captain's always thinking of the team first. I love their diversity there between them two.
And that shows it
It's
shows
a
you how much of a leader that Cap is. Captain is the leader. Like it's
yeah, he's
what
the leader.
when Kobe I forget her name in this movie, the lady from How I Met Your Mother,
Yeah,
um, how she is like uh, she says, "Hey boss, we did blah 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 blah," but then Tony says, "I'm not the boss. He is. I'm just the one that has all the money, builds all the toys, and makes everybody's suit better." It's like some shade, but but Tony also knows that he isn't the boss. He's not the leader.
yeah.
Although, and I think he kind of hates that he's not the leader. But honestly, Steve Rogers is the leader. He is the lead. He's the captain of the
He's
Avengers.
the captain for a reason.
Yeah, and it's better that it is Steve as the captain because I mean Tony can be reckless. Um,
Oh, no
but
doubt,
yeah,
no doubt. But I do like their tension though. You kind of want to see them work as a team, but you also kind of wonder what it's going to be like if they were at each other. Going up against each
hero fight. But you've never seen that where they say monster fight and then like the sound of the horns. I can't do it because I hate mimicking things. Brandon, give me a look. That's how I end it. All right.
other.
So let me go ahead and give him my marks, and
Go ahead.
Brandon can proceed. Um, I give this 5 marks out of 5. I actually,
Five.
yeah, I actually enjoyed the movie, man. I didn't find anything wrong with it. I enjoyed it, and it's crazy because back 2015 when I watched it, I don't think that I would have gave it that mark. But now just revisiting it, I'm like, yeah, I actually dug it. I can't find if I can't find anything wrong with it, I'm not gonna be a prick or anything. Just like count it off as some weird thing. But I liked it. You know.
Enter Brandon's thoughts. He's going to be a prick about it, apparently. I can't give it 5, although I think it is a very entertaining film, and I think it's a solid entry into the Avengers films. I'm kind of a toss up between a 4 and 4.5. I'm gonna go 4.5.
Hmm.
Um, I think the reason I don't go all the way 5 is because I feel like I said earlier, Bruce, he was fine. He wasn't great. And I feel like Tony wasn't as strong as he's been in the past. So, but and the story was pretty good, but I don't think it was perfect. But I did love Wanda and Quicksilver. I did love what they did with Clint and Hawkeye. I really love that aspect to this film, introducing his family, which is going to be huge moving forward with his character. I thought, it was a lot better than I remembered. Honestly, it really was. So I'm gonna go 4.5 out of 5.
Okay, that's not bad. It's still a good score. It's a fresh score.
Much better than it was.
Yeah. All right. So that's our review of Avengers: Age of Ultron. Next week we will be back with Ant-Man, which I can't wait for it. I absolutely like Paul Rudd, and think that movie's gonna. I love that movie, and so I can't see me watching it again and not loving it still. So
Yeah,
it's like Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy for me. It's just like a movie that I just can't. I just don't. I don't hate.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I do remember was it Yellow Jacket? Is that his name? The villain?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I loved him a lot better than I did the villain in the sequel, which I believe is Lawrence Fishburne. I'm not 100% sure if that's
Well, it's also that chick that kind of like a ghost or whatever. She goes in and out of.
yeah. Like I don't remember much about the sequel. I didn't like the sequel as much. I do,
Yeah.
but I really did like Ant-Man.
The
Paul Rudd
sequel.
was fantastic in that role.
The sequel was in existence only to give us the very end scene where he comes out, where he goes into the quantum realm, and
Yeah,
to give us a quantum realm, and also to give us the I think we get like the snap happens in the sequel because that happens.
while he's in the realm. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, because that happens. The sequel happens, I guess, simultaneously with uh
yeah.
Infinity War,
Because
right?
he's not in Infinity War.
Yeah, but
Oh,
that's interesting. I seen it side by side. It was really cool, man. You can look at that on YouTube. It's pretty interesting. Seeing like they took all the things that happened with the snap at the same time. Once the snap happens, and every scene of everybody going away or whatever happening right then. Uh, and it's a very interesting scene to see. Like it's on YouTube.
but
It's
it's
cool.
also interesting that Ant-Man wasn't invited to fight in the war to begin with. Like we
Yeah.
don't think enough of you.
Well, they didn't invite Peter. He just happened to be on that trip, be
Yeah,
on the school bus and seeing it, and just kind of got involved. But and Iron Man tried to send him back to Earth, but
yeah.
but I can't wait to get there.
We're
uh,
getting closer.
yeah, we're getting closer. We're cooking, man. And so
I'm
thank you
sad.
all for yeah, thank you. I'm gonna be a grown man crying. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was a grown man. I was a grown man like tearing up on this when Petro died. But yeah, but can't wait for it. I thank you all for joining us. No more comments from Fuzz. He died on us. Uh, he's like not literally, uh,
We
but
hope not.
we hope not. But yeah, I hope Fuzz. Next time, tell us your thoughts. If you're still watching, you got a couple of minutes. I'll give you a moment or so if you want to say, "Hey, I liked it" or "I didn't like it." You know, but if not, then we're gonna go ahead and conclude this. Um, yeah, we're gonna conclude, and I don't know. I didn't give you long, did I? Probably be typing as we speak. I'm sorry, or you might be eating a hot pocket. I don't know what you do in your spare time. But anyway, let's see. Aaron Whitlow,
Oh, this is Brandon Spivey here at the Markout Movie Podcast.
and we thank you for marking out with us here, and come back next week for Ant-Man. And let us know also what you watched, and also if you are watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe, uh, comment, because I see those comments and I try to reply to those comments. I'm sorry I don't do it on Facebook as much, but I do go after the show, and Brandon will too, maybe, and look to see if he sees any comment. But yeah, we thank you all for tuning in, and thank you for marking out with us. Peace.
Also, like and subscribe on Anchor.
And on Anchor, yes, and then we're also on Spotify and other places. Yeah, we're trying to get this out there. We love doing the content for people and talking about movies with you. We're just a couple of fans of films. That's it. Good. All right. We thank you.
Finally got him to say
Peace.
we're fans instead of critics. It happened. Only
I'm a
took 3
critic.
years. It happened.
I am still a critic, but I'm a fan. I'm a fan before I'm a critic. So that's why it's called Markout Movie Podcast, not critics. Blah blah blah. Part because I'm a fan. I'm a mark for movies. So yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Peace.
Peace.